In 1932, a wealthy American socialite named Eben Byers was laid to rest, but this was no ordinary burial. His body was sealed inside a coffin lined with thick lead, not to protect him from the outside world, but to protect the world from him. Why? Because his bones were so intensely radioactive that they were practically glowing. He hadn't worked in a nuclear facility or been exposed to a reactor. He had simply been drinking his favorite health tonic, a drink called Radioactive. To understand this bizarre story, we need to go back a few decades. When Marie Curie discovered the element radium in 1898, it seemed like pure magic. Here was a substance that glowed in the dark, seemingly on its own. It produced a constant, seemingly endless supply of energy. The world became instantly infatuated. It was the scientific marvel of the age. Soon, a craze swept the globe. Doctors, entrepreneurs, and quacks alike declared radium the elixir of life. They claimed it held the very secret to vitality and eternal youth. And so the commercialization began. Suddenly, radium was everywhere. It was put into toothpaste, with advertisements promising it would make your teeth gleam a brilliant white. It was mixed into cosmetics and face creams, sold with the promise of giving your skin a youthful, radiant glow. There were radium-infused butter, radium-laced chocolate bars, and even radium suppositories. And of course, for the wealthy elite, there were expensive radium-infused waters and tonics. People paid fortunes to drink this glowing liquid. The prevailing belief, promoted by so-called experts, was that the gentle radiation would energize the body's cells, stimulating them and warding off aging and disease. They were consuming a substance they believed was the key to life, completely unaware that with every sip, they were inviting a slow, silent death into their bodies. This brings us back to Eben Byers. He was a champion golfer, a successful industrialist, and a man who enjoyed the finer things in life. After a minor injury, his doctor prescribed Radioactive, a popular patent medicine that was little more than radium dissolved in distilled water. Byers loved it. He claimed it made him feel invigorated, full of energy, so he drank it. A lot of it. He reportedly consumed several bottles a day for years, even recommending it to his friends. But then, the miracle turned into a nightmare. His health began to mysteriously decline. His teeth started falling out. He experienced severe pain in his jaw. Over time, his bones began to literally disintegrate. Parts of his jaw had to be surgically removed. The man who once believed he was drinking the fountain of youth was being eaten alive from the inside out by the very element he trusted. When he finally died a gruesome death, his body contained over 3 times the lethal dose of radium. The radioactivity was so high that his remains were considered hazardous material, hence the lead-lined coffin. His death was a shocking wake-up call, but he was far from the only victim. The most tragic part of this story belongs to a group of young women who would come to be known as the Radium Girls. In the 1910s and 20s, one of the most popular applications of radium was creating luminous paint for watch and clock dials. Before digital displays, this glow-in-the-dark feature was a revolutionary innovation, especially for soldiers in the trenches of World War I. Factories, particularly in New Jersey, Illinois, and Connecticut, hired thousands of young women, many of them teenagers, for the delicate work of painting these dials. The job was seen as glamorous. It paid well, and the workers were dealing with this wondrous cutting-edge material. To get the bristles of their tiny paint brushes to a needle-fine point, the factory supervisors taught the girls a simple technique. They called it lip dip paint. They were instructed to put the tip of the brush between their lips to shape it, then dip it in the radium paint, and then carefully paint the tiny numbers on the dial. Over and over, hundreds of times a day, lip dip paint. With every lick, they ingested a small but deadly dose of radium. These young women became known for their ethereal glow. When they finished their shifts and walked home in the dark, their clothes, their hair, and their skin would faintly luminesce. They were nicknamed the Ghost Girls. They thought it was beautiful, a magical perk of the job. Some even painted their nails and teeth with the glowing paint before a night out, just for fun. They had no idea they were painting themselves with poison. Then, just like Eben Byers, their bodies began to betray them. They suffered from anemia, bone fractures, and a horrifying condition that came to be known as radium jaw, where the jawbone would become necrotic and full of holes, causing excruciating pain. Doctors were initially baffled. They had never seen anything like it. When the girls, brave and terrified, tried to seek justice and sue the companies, they were met with a wall of denial and deception. The corporations hired their own doctors to release studies claiming radium was harmless. They launched smear campaigns, trying to ruin the reputations of the sick and dying women by claiming their health problems were caused by other diseases. It was a brutal fight for the truth. These women, many of them terminally ill and in constant pain, had to battle powerful corporations in court. It took years of legal struggle, even as their numbers dwindled, to finally prove that the miracle element they worked with every day was the direct cause of their suffering. Their legacy is a powerful one. Their fight led to the establishment of industrial safety standards and workers' rights that protect people to this day. But their story has a haunting postscript. Radium has a half-life of 1,600 years. To this day, if you were to take a Geiger counter to the graves of the Radium Girls, it would still click and buzz. Their bones remain radioactive, and they will continue to glow silently in the dark for another 1,000 years or more. The story of radium is a sobering reminder. It shows us how easily we can be captivated by the promise of a miracle, by something new and exciting that seems too good to be true. Science and technology will always advance, bringing us incredible new possibilities. But the lesson from Eben Byers and the Radium Girls remains as relevant as ever. Just because something is new, promoted by experts, and embraced by the masses, doesn't mean we should accept it without question. True progress demands not just innovation, but also caution, skepticism, and above all, humanity. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating and important as I did, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more dives into the forgotten corners of history. See you next time.